Hi there. This is Kathleen Rendelia with Brandon's House Counseling Center, and this is our Monday Mental Health Moment. Thank you for joining me. So, Brandon's House Counseling Center has been doing these Monday Mental Health Moments for almost a year now. We started this when the pandemic hit and we kind of had to close things down and people had to be home more. And we thought, how can we reach out to the community that is so supportive of us and let them know things that can help maybe decrease a little bit of their stress each week. So we decided to do a Monday Mental Health Moment. And my name's Kathleen. I'm the director at Brandon's House. And so I kind of get to do most of these talks with you. We've had a few guests as well. But if you don't know what Brandon's House is, let me give you a little bit of information about us before we get into our mental health tip of the week. So Brandon's House Counseling Center is a free mental health counseling center in New Albany, Indiana. However, we serve all of Southern Indiana and even some people from Kentucky if they feel like driving over. What makes us unique, though, is that we are completely free. So individuals don't have to pay copay. We don't bill insurance. You don't even have to meet a specific requirement for, say, income or things like that. We want to remove as many barriers as possible for people seeking professional mental health services. And I do say professional. Sometimes people think because they're getting the service for free that maybe it isn't as up to par as if you paid for it. But that is something that we work hard to maintain professional standards at Brandon's House. We make sure that we hold to our ethical codes as well as state codes and everything. So the services we provide are professional mental health, but they're free. So how can we provide those free services? Well, that comes down to the community. The community is incredibly supportive of us at Brandon's House. We have some fundraisers throughout the year and a few small local grants as well. And that helps us to maintain our counseling as we go about our year. Now, we specifically work with teens and their families. So we have, a waiting list at the moment because right now teens have been hit really hard mental health wise the last year. So there's been a much higher demand for services. And because we are free, there's more people, especially right now, because sometimes financial things are a little bit tight this last year, more so than normal. We've had even more kids and families seeking services. So I am putting it out there. If you are a professional counselor and are interested in volunteering or helping out part-time at Brandon's House, please contact us. Let us know. We really could use some extra hands on deck. So if you're interested, we'd love to have you. You can contact me directly at Kathleen@brandonshousein.com. And I would, again, love to hear from you if you are a counselor and are interested in volunteering at Brandon's House. Now, what fundraisers do we have going on right now? Well, we have our Walk for Teens event, which is our walkathon. And with that, you can sponsor the event at 4 different sponsorship levels. So there's something for everybody. You can also participate in the event. So we had a couple more participants sign up this week. We're wanting to get a whole bunch of people walking. So you can walk, and when you walk, you can have an individual fundraiser where you share on your social media platforms to let people know, hey, I'm doing this event to help support mental health counseling for teens. Will you support me? $5, $10, whatever you can get helps, again, us reach our main goal. So you can participate, you can sponsor. You also, if you are a teen between the ages of 13 and 19, could design our shirt for the event. We have a shirt design contest going on in the month of March here. So the deadline is April 2nd. So if you are interested, if you're artistic, you want to use those skills to help us at Brandon's House, you can enter. People who win this contest, it will be a public vote. So winner, though, will get their shirt or hoodie, whichever you choose, for free. You also will get free registration for the walk. And you will get recognition on the shirt itself, as well as all of our social media and our website. So really kind of a fun thing to do. You can still socially distance and design at the same time. So please, if you're interested, get out there and do some designs for that. You can find further instructions on our website. And again, the deadline is April 2nd for that. So if you are interested, please do get your designs to us. We don't want you to miss out just because you missed the deadline. So that's what we have going on that way. Also, we are always excited just to have volunteers. We have some unique volunteer opportunities coming up with spring, some outdoor cleanup, things like that. So if you're interested in volunteering, you can also go to our website, fill out the volunteer form, let us know. All right, so that's kind of what we have going on at Brandon's house. Let's talk mental health tip of the week. So we started last week talking about teens, parenting, helping kids in general, right? So this week we are going to talk about emotional regulation for children, teens, little kids, big kids. Everybody needs it, okay? What is emotional regulation? Well, emotional regulation is having the ability to recognize what you're feeling and express it in a manner and degree that is appropriate, both socially, morally, all of that, in the situation that you're in. Okay, so for example, sometimes somebody may be really excited about something, right? And if you are in a business meeting and you're really excited, you may have to kind of keep it down a little bit. You don't want to be jumping up and down, going crazy about it, right? But if you're at home and your team wins or something like that, you can go crazy. It doesn't matter. So sometimes it's okay to let loose. Other times we know we have to keep it in a little bit more, right? So our kids learn emotional regulation from us. We are their emotional models. And that could be good or it could be bad. It depends on how your skill level is of emotional regulation as well. So there are different things that we can do to help our kids though in this. The first thing that helps with emotional regulation though is we have to be able to identify what we're feeling. We can't know if it's an appropriate way to express it or even how to express it if we don't know what it is. So even little kids can start to learn the names of emotions and what they look like. There are all sorts of different storybooks out there that have those adjectives and talk about emotions in a fun way that kids can relate to, as well as just labeling it when you see it. So if your little one is sad about something, saying that, oh, you look like you're really sad right now. And maybe, if you're feeling upset or happy, saying, Mama feels really happy right now. This has been a good day. Helping them to learn and use those feeling words in your vocabulary helps them understand what expression is on your face and what word goes with it. I have a 2 and a 4-year-old, and they're frequently asking me which emotion I'm feeling right then, because they're trying right now. They're both at that age where they're in that developing a emotional regulation and identification of those emotions. So it's very frequent for them to say, Mommy, are you happy? Mommy, are you sad? And sometimes I'm like, oh shoot, which one am I right now? And I have to think about it. So, being emotionally well yourself, as well as helping your kids know, learning those names. Sometimes it's fun to get a whole list, and some different books have, like this book here has a whole list of different feelings in it. And sometimes you're kind of surprised at all the different ways that we can express feelings. But ultimately, we kind of boil them down to sad, glad, and mad. And then everything else is kind of a combination of one of those or a different level of it. So for example, with mad, you might be really, really mad and like enraged, or you might just be a little bit mad and annoyed. So there's different levels. So, helping your kids understand, first off, the name of the emotion and what it looks like. Then you have to teach them how to express it in an appropriate way. And sometimes we can't always express our emotion just full blown out the way we want to. In fact, a lot of times we can't. And so we have to learn how to regulate that emotion and regulate the expression of it. There's all sorts of different ways we can do this. With littler kids, we often start with what we would consider a mutual regulation strategy. So this is something that as a parent, you're coming alongside your child and you're working with them as a partner and teaching them how to calm down. Sometimes this could be, for example, a toddler picking them up and rocking with them in the rocking chair, helping them calm down, maybe using a distraction technique, or removing the trigger, whatever is making them upset in that moment. Sometimes it would be, you can read a story or do something soothing, even, just moving on to the next activity. Like, okay, well, we're kind of upset and agitated about dinner time. We're done with dinner. Let's go take a bath. Helping them just move on to the next thing and let go of that emotion in that moment. But learning those mutual things that you can do to help them, or modeling it yourself. So, for example, some of the things that are traditionally self-regulation, like taking deep breaths or going for a walk or something like that, you can model for your younger children and have them do it with you until they learn it themselves. So you can get your stress ball out and you can start squeezing that stress ball and say, okay, let's squeeze the stress ball together. Or I'll toss it to you and you squeeze it, then you toss it to me and I'll squeeze it until we don't feel tense anymore. Sometimes, especially with little kids, they need to get physically active to work out their excitement or agitation. They just express emotion better by moving around. So, putting on music and dancing it out, or doing jumping jacks, or if you live in a place where you can let them out in the yard and just let them run for a few minutes, helping them to physically get that emotion out of their body. And then you can have a sit-down conversation about whatever it was that maybe triggered that moment that they were upset about. But mutual regulation when they're younger. As they get older, though, you want to teach them how to do this on their own. So you can have, again, things that can help. One of the things that we like at our house are these things here where it's kind of like bubble wrap, but reusable. So you can pop them and then flip them over and pop it again. And when you're bored, mad, anxious, all those times, this can be a good way to just kind of get a little bit of that tension or wiggles out for my little ones. But other things that can help, coloring, not even having to color anything in particular. As they get older, the specific coloring books that have your very detailed pictures in them can be really soothing. Adults find those soothing often as well. Using exercise, yoga, different things like that. The good old scream into a pillow. It's a good way to help children learn emotional regulation. So think about different things that help you and then model those for your children so that they can learn that emotional regulation. So the first thing we have to do is learn what the emotion is. So recognize what the emotion is. And then we have to either express it if it is okay to express in that moment, or if it's not okay in that situation, we have to figure out a way to regulate our emotion to being something that either we can calm down and express later in a safe place, or we can talk it out, figure out what's going on. So that's the next step as a parent. And sitting down with your child, even little ones, you don't want to have a complex conversation, but you could say, well, okay, so now that you're calm, Kipling, can you tell me, why were you running around screaming? What was it that you wanted to scream about? And you can have those conversations and say, well, remember, we don't want to scream inside, but if you feel like screaming, here's a pillow. You can scream into your pillow. Helping them to learn, this might be the desire you have, but here's an okay way to express it. And again, as a parent, I know it's hard, but you have to model that appropriate behavior too. So if you're mad at your kid for throwing things when they get mad, but when you're working on a project and you get mad and you're tossing the tools and cursing and everything, and then you see that same behavior in them and you're punishing them for it, maybe you should think about what you're modeling of being emotionally, is it, emotionally regulated or not? So this week, if you're dealing with children in your life, I want you to think about what level they are at already of recognizing their emotions and expressing them in an appropriate way. And if that's something that you're struggling with, maybe try some of these different things. So again, you can maybe go for a walk with your child, help them to practice their deep breathing exercises. Remember, when we deep breathe, we want to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. And we can do our 4-count breathing where we breathe in and then exhale. Using your fingers really helps kids to take that slow, deep breath. So please try a little bit of emotional regulation this week. And I hope that you, if you haven't already signed up for our Walk for Teens event, can get online, sign up. We would love to see you at our event. It's both virtual as well as we'll have a few people in person at our different locations. So if you would like to walk and socially distance, that is an option as well. So again, I'm Kathleen Rendelia with Brandon's House Counseling Center, and I thank you again for watching. Have a wonderful evening.